Hey guys, I just wanted to reach out to you and let you know that Surewinder is still selling amazing products. Some of you guys have been dragging your feet for whatever reason. If your shoulder hurts, do not waste time. Pull the trigger. I just bought 4 or 5 of them, and we had 2 guys out. You know how much it cost me to pay for 2 guys being out with bad shoulders? We just pulled the trigger and we said, listen, everybody's going to have one on a truck. It's mandatory. You got to use it. Don't hesitate. Don't wait till your guys go down. It's going to cost you more. Buy a Surewinder.
What's up, guys? This is Ryan with Torsion Talk Podcast, and today I'm actually at home on vacation, but dedicated to the show so that we can get this out. I apologize if there's a little bit of an echo. We don't have great acoustics here, but we're going to push through. First thing on the agenda, I've got a good show for you guys today. Even though it is going to be short and sweet, it is going to be a good one. But before we get into it, I do want to make sure that you guys know about GDU Summit coming September 10th to the 14th. We had a GDU Summit back in December, and it was absolutely freaking amazing. Everybody who came to it said it was one of the best events they've ever been to. We got great feedback, and we're going to implement some of the things they said that we can improve on. So this one should be even better. And we secured Jesse Itzler, who in my opinion is one of the best, if not the best public speakers I've ever of our generation, definitely that I've ever heard. So he's a great storyteller. You guys will love that. The main topic of the event is going to be sales and marketing, because when we polled our attendees from GDU Summit 2022, they said they wanted sales and marketing to be the focus of the next one. So that's what we're going to do. And this whole conference is going to be about education, entertainment, which is what I'm always committed to. You guys have seen my events. We shoot guns out of helicopters. We've done race cars, penthouse suite parties in Vegas. Like, we've had some pretty fun entertainment. This one, we're going to have a fishing tournament. We're chartering 10 boats. You're going to go out. We've got a lake. So this is all happening on an island with a really nice resort. And we have this massive lake called Lake Lanier here in Georgia. And we're going to go out and do some striper fishing and some bass fishing, because there's probably not many places in the country that has better striping fishing than here in Lake Lanier. So if you haven't fished striper before, check it out. It's actually really cool. They fight really hard and they run in packs. So a lot of times when you get one on the hook, you'll get 3 or 4. And so you'll have multiple people on the boat trying to reel in fish, which is pretty fun, especially when they're running so hard. So GDU Summit, we're going to do like a houseboat party. We're going to have a fishing tournament, some night entertainment. We've already got 2 sponsors, Somer and Service Spring. So thank you. Shout out to you guys. We will be, we're looking for 1 to 2 more sponsors. So if you are listening to this and you are interested in sponsoring the event, please reach out and check with us. All right, on to the show. So first and foremost, I want to say that I'm really excited about a couple things. The main thing that I'm most excited about is the development of innovation in our industry. Although our manufacturers are extremely competitive, and so this is no surprise, I think it's very interesting that you have multiple manufacturers coming out with new doors right now. They've streamlined a lot of manufacturing. And so this is kind of an odd time, I would say. So Clopay rolls out the Chevron. I don't know if you guys have seen this yet, but it is an absolutely beautiful door, herringbone, and this has become a popular trend in wood doors, but there hasn't been a good alternative until now. So make sure you check out the Clopay herringbone door, which they're calling the Chevron. And I think you can get that in like an A shape or a V shape, but really cool door. I think it's available now. I've got the little release that they did, but I left it somewhere. And comes in two colors, which I think they're going to need to expand on if they want to really sell that door a lot. Or I think it comes in maybe a couple more colors. I'm not sure, but it's just Chevron. Check it out. The other doors that we sell CHI's plank door a lot. Like it's a hot seller here in the Atlanta market. The cedar door goes really well on mid-century modern. We sell a lot of the dark oak. Those are two of the primary colors that we sell the most. I've even got a cedar plank in my showroom in Milton, and like that thing is just a hit. Like it just does extremely well. So what are we seeing now? DoorLink released about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. They're coming out with a competitor to CHI's plank door. And so it looks nice. Like, it's different. I think the planks are bigger, but I haven't seen it in person. But what I can say is from the pictures, it looks nice. Clopay, I went to, I got a letter from Clopay that they're rolling out their own. I have seen that in person, and I'm going to share a little bit of information about it. What was really cool about that door is that it actually has non-repetitive paint. So I don't so I'm really confused on how they paint these doors to make them look like wood. CHI does a printing process, and the printing process makes a lot of sense. Now, Nathan Woodard, I think, no, Derek Lyons. Sorry, Nathan. Derek Lyons, I think, posted something on Facebook recently about a CHI accent door just completely whitewashed, like really bad. And then there's others that have chipped in and shown photos of the accent series with exposure to sun just completely washing out. Now, we all knew that this was a scenario. I've talked about it before. And there was a point in time where they upgraded the UV protectant on the door, but I don't know. This one seemed to be pretty old, so I'm not 100% sure if that was prior to that. But we can certainly say that the lifespan of that door is not as long when it comes to the paint as we would probably like. So when talking to Clopay, they say they're actually buying the steel with it on it already, which is interesting to me because if you're buying the steel with it on there already, then it's got to be most likely painted, I would imagine. And they confirmed that they said it is painted. This puts me in like a really weird position because the patterns and the grains and everything look so legit. Like I just don't know how you would paint that. Like I'm not super familiar with the technology in paint in a painting process like that, especially manufacturing something in such a quick time, how they make that work. But very interested in seeing that. Now, I was told that the repetitive pattern does happen, but it's like every 14 feet, which is actually super cool. That gives you 2 7-foot doors side by side with no repetitive action. However, if you got 8x8s or 10x10s, something like that, then you will have a little bit of repetitive. So take that into consideration. And that's assuming that they ran down at the same time and one starts and the other one ends on the same kind of run. So that's Clopay. And then rumor has it that Amar is coming out with their own product as well. And before I skip the Clopay, I did get to see it in person. The one thing that I think they probably missed on, and this is what CHI did very well, is CHI actually used like almost like a ribbed door. So instead of just making like a dark shadow line, um, virtually using paint. They did that, like Clop or CHI did that, and they actually have the indention in the door. Now, for Clopay, it's just a shadow line. So it's deceptive. But when you get closer, you don't see that depth like you do in the CHI door. But it's still very beautiful. It's going to sell like crazy. And the fact that it's painted, I believe it has a better warranty. If I recall correctly, definitely check that out. Than the CHI. I think that that's going to still a large amount of market share from CHI, and probably rightfully so. CHI cannot get out of their own way to save their freaking life. So AMAR rolls out their own as well, as from what I'm hearing. This is kind of a behind the scenes type of thing. I haven't seen the release yet, but I was told that AMAR is rolling out their own. And speaking of AMAR, they are working a deal. I don't know if they did like a is some type of release with Axel Auto. Axel Auto is a developer of like this cool surfacing product, right? And the idea is to take a surface and turn it into whatever you want. And there is a lot of different ways you can go with this. It's going to be a huge hit in the designer community. Architecture, engineer, probably not engineers, but architects and designers are going to eat it up. Now, these doors are not going to be cheap, probably the most expensive doors in our industry, which plays well for the high-end market, but not every dealer is going to feel comfortable selling these things. I also expect them to be extremely heavy based on what I know about the technology and everything that goes along with it. But AMAR did a release, and then I reached out to my rep, and it sounds like it's either not a done deal or they're still in the process. So the release sounds like it was a little early. I don't know if there's a news war going on right now trying to get clients, but it feels like the winds have shifted a little bit. You know, it was only 2 years ago when manufacturers didn't give a damn whether you went to them or not. And now it sounds like they're all fighting for news and rolling out new product to try to gain our interest. So what happens with the dealers? Do we just forget the past and jump in and say, screw it? Or do we stand our ground and put our money where our mouth is? That'll be interesting to see. There's no telling.
Consistency in everything, including price, reliability, quality, not just quality, but great quality control. These are things that describe Somer USA. Somer's not some startup company, not one that you need to be worried about going out of business in the near future. Somer and their family of businesses are $200 million companies. They're in over 100 countries, and they have locations in 20 countries. This is a large organization who stands behind their product and works through integrity. And there's not another company out there willing to drop what they're doing and help you out like Somer. These guys are awesome. Not only have they been loyal to the Torsion Talk podcast, they've been loyal to the technicians and the owners of the companies who install their product. In my opinion, if you're not at least offering Somer as an additional option, you're cheating yourself. Listen, first-time dealers, I've got a special for you. If you buy 10 or more Somers, while supplies last, we will offer you free shipping. You have no more excuses. The prices are great. The product is amazing. Go check out Somer USA and order 10 for free shipping.
So let's give some news. I want to give some economic news. For those of you guys who know me well, know that I follow economics on a daily basis. I take in probably about 2 to 3 hours of economic data every day. I wake up super early, and there's a couple people I follow to try to make educate me so I can make good financial decisions. So I'm going to hit on some of those. But first, Trump's been arrested. I never thought I would see the day, but there's nothing off the table when the Democrats are in charge. And obviously, this is a political move, in my opinion. And it's very interesting that we are here now. So I think it's only going to help Trump, be honest with you. The fact that he's on this witch hunt again will probably provide some empathy from people who are kind of in the middle. It's going to ignite a fire amongst the people who are far right. And I think the people on the far left are celebrating much too early. I think this is going to be a knockdown, drag out. And quite frankly, just based on my opinion, whoever cheats the best is going to be the winner. Consumer price index, the United States averaged 120.81 points from 1950 until 2023. Average points of 120. We're reaching an all-time high of 300 points in February of 2023 and a record low of 23 points back in February of 1950. So just to kind of give you a frame of reference here, consumer price index we've averaged 120 since 1950. Now, during that period of time, we've went as low as 23, which is super, super low. But we are at an all-time high of 300 right now, over double consumer price index. Fed bumped the rate a quarter point recently in an attempt to slow the market and slow jobs. And we're trying to slow spending. How do you slow spending? You control jobs you without raising inflation. So you control jobs. How do you control jobs? You raise interest rates. Businesses are less likely to take loans for capital. This is very big in a lot of industries. I don't think it's I said earlier online that I don't think that the garage door industry is going to be affected horribly, not like the tech industry and some of these other companies. So we're shielded a little bit from recessions to a degree. Unfortunately, the exposure to the garage door companies that are in new construction is significantly higher than those that do retrofit. If you're set up for service very well, then you should be fine. What we saw in 2020, 2021, prior to the boom, was people were fixing their doors but not replacing them. And historically, when you go back and talk to people who went through the 2008, 2010 era, that was exactly what happened. So you could be preparing for a little bit of a downturn for our industry. However, January and February on the East Coast for a lot of companies I've talked to were disastrous. But we've rebounded, and now March was a recovery month for us. So specifically for air and overhead doors, we had two of our worst months in company history in January and February. However, March was so significantly higher than anything we had ever done before. We not only just made up for January and February, but we exceeded our quarterly goal, which was pretty impressive. So shout out to my team. However, I will say that to me, it feels like people were dragging their feet in January and February because the market was so unstable. When you look at consumer confidence reports, they were down in February from January and year over year. So now March is starting to have a downward trend over February. So we're not moving in the right direction. But what I can tell you is that I've talked to a couple of West Coast people who are slower right now. So seems to have started on the East Coast and moved west, but consumer confidence is not great right now. So what happens when consumers aren't feeling overly confident about the world and the things going on in it? Well, they pull back. And when they pull back, everybody feels it. Everybody wants to try to be in cash so that if something happens, they can afford to pay for it. Consumer debt is at an all-time high. And what's happening right now is most credit cards are in a interest rate that fluctuates. And so those payments that they're making every day are going to be higher. So they're getting squeezed. People with a lot of credit card debt are getting squeezed. Steel prices are going in a volatility, like from the mills, getting a little volatile. So we saw like a steady side or downward action for a while, and now we're seeing a little bit of volatility where the price is going up. Could this be because the prices are so inflated by the manufacturers that we're not seeing any changes on our end? Who knows? They definitely have the room to absorb it a little bit. So I'm assuming they are absorbing some of the increases in certain areas and waiting to see if they're going to stay where they're at, which it doesn't look like they are. They're kind of going up and down, apparently. So we get information from Majestic Steel. We just had him on. If you haven't checked that podcast out, make sure you do so. Speaking of manufacturers, since they are making all-time high profits off of us and their doors, what are some things that they could do to invest that money back into us? Well, Clopay sent out a spiff program, which is pretty interesting. Now, coming from the car industry, the automotive industry, we had spiffs from the manufacturers. So essentially, if you're a car salesperson and you sold a car and you had a CSI score, which was customer service index of like 90 or higher, then they would put like $100 or $150 on a little spiff card that you had. It was like a prepaid card, and they would just load it. I made about $1,200 to $1,500 a month, usually on my spiff card, which was super nice because that's like, it's income. That's a pretty significant income, especially back then. I was only like 21 years old, above and beyond my commissions at my employer. So Clopay sent out a spiff program for dealers, and I think that's pretty cool. They also, manufacturers could also do a direct consumer campaign. There's never been probably a better time to gain market share than right now. And Clopay may be in a little bit of a weird position because it's my understanding they cut a lot of dealers out that were underperforming. So I think that that's something to take a look at and keep an eye on. How do they go to market with a direct consumer platform and they probably have 20% less dealers? Maybe they just feed the big dealers. So are the big dealers going to get bigger and the smaller dealers are going to get smaller? Who knows? But I think it would be cool for Clopay, Amar, CHI, DoorLink, all these manufacturers to do direct consumer campaign, generate leads, and feed them back to their dealers. If you guys need help with that, make sure to hit me up. I can definitely help. They could start a invest back into the dealers, like training, whatever. I don't know. There's so much, right? Like our industry is a little weird too. When it comes to automotive manufacturers, obviously, like a lot of them have direct franchisee agreements, and that's very different than what we have here when we are buying from manufacturers. And a lot of us buy from multiple manufacturers because no one manufacturer offers all the doors. So for that reason, there's so many different things that we could do. And I love Clopay's creativity right now and their product manufacturing as well as their spiff program. Keep it up, Clopay. There's a lot of things you guys could do better, like damage control, quality control. I can tell you just about every modern flush door we get is damaged. I'm not quite sure what's going on there, but I do appreciate your efforts in all the other areas. So if you guys have ideas on how manufacturers could give back to the dealers in a form of a bonus plan, because I'm not even sure that cutting the prices is the best way to do it. I'm thinking that the best way to do it is keep the prices where they're at and then invest the profits back into the growth by trickling that down to the dealers, increasing co-op, providing programs to assist with co-op, having our reps educated on it and assist with it, like getting everybody involved in all that. Like there's so many things that I think we could do and do better. And there's probably never been a better time for us to work together as a dealer and manufacturer group to make this happen. So if you have ideas, make sure you post them in the comments, hit me up, let me know. Maybe we'll share your ideas on the podcast. If they're good, maybe we rally together and we try to create a conversation with manufacturers, which we've tried plenty of times. And there's only 2 manufacturers and that we've reached out to that's really been willing to have some true, real conversation. And that has been Amar and Hawes. By the way, we love Hawes. Thank you, Paul. And we are in a position right now where the industry is going to be making some big decisions. We got some great competition out there. I think, if you're going to make a plank door, though, make sure it's not repetitive and the paint's got to hold up. A good warranty. If you have a good warranty, you have non-repetitive and it looks realistic, then I think you've got a winner and I think it's going to sell. That plank door is hot and it's not going away. It's kind of a staple. It's been around for a very long time. Anyway, with that, I want to say thank you to all of our listeners. Make sure you check us out on Facebook and hit me up if you need anything. Honored and blessed to serve our industry and appreciate all of your listening. If you have some ideas, make sure you hit me up. Let me know. Take care. Be blessed.